right, guys. Okay. James chopping up there for a second. I think hopefully his connection's good. Okay,
Can you
cool.
guys hear me? Yeah, you should be able to.
Yeah, you're just a little bit like looks like you're in a dream or something. You're like choppy, you know. Okay, cool, guys. 50K Maven account for the best questions today. Once again, as always, that's what we do. James is going to take the lead sort of here today. We're going to be talking more about the dumb money concept sort of stuff. We're going to be talking about Dumbmoneyhunter, and any questions that you have for me today, it's all going to be directed this way. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, James, you take it.
Last week you spoke a little bit about me and my trading. So I want to speak about Hunter's trading this week. Hunter, maybe for those that don't know, how long have you been trading and how did you kind of get into it? I know a lot of guys get into it different ways. What kind of prompted you to get into trading, and when did you first actually hear about it? Was it the Lambo guys online, or how did you find out?
Yeah, it's really weird actually being on the other side of this and actually having the questions directed towards me now. I'm actually kind of uncomfortable. It feels like I'm a guest on a podcast. Cool. Yeah, the quick synopsis and backstory is, we were a World of Warcraft nerd. After I grew up in Ontario,
Okay.
like East Coast sort of thing. My mom shipped us out to the West Coast, and I lost all my friends. So I got into World of Warcraft so I could still play with my friends, right?
Sure.
So I became a computer nerd. The computer nerd obviously turned into, what do you like to do after high school? I was like, well, I like to sit on the computer, right? So I didn't really know what to do. So we went to computing school, right? Computer science, BCIT. That's where I met John, and we started mining. John is just a genius with getting around, skirting around certain, rules and whatnot, and trying to win, right? And he figured out we can just sneak into the lab computers and mine Bitcoin on the lab computers and then send it to our own wallets afterwards. So we ran this Bitcoin mining sort of scheme on the school. Right?
On the school PCs.
Yeah, and terrible PCs, but when you're running 30 of them and it's 2013, you actually get a decent amount of money, surprisingly, right? And the amount of money we made was just a few $1,000 back then, but it would have been a lot now if we didn't lose it gambling on Flappy Coin, which is one of those early day meme coins. We gambled on a game with it. Anyways, Bitcoin trading, John went down the route of tech sort of thing. I was never the best tech guy, which is why I love AI now, because I don't have to code.
But you don't have to think.
I was kind of the dummy of the class, right? So I would just do all the documentation, and then from there I ended up going down the trading route instead because I learned about Bitcoin, right? And slowly switched over to Forex. Forex didn't do me as well as crypto, so then I went to futures after that. But
if I'm not mistaken, you kind of did well in crypto for that's how you kind of started, like making good money, right?
Yeah, crypto made a shitload of money. Long-term investing, super easy with crypto. You just kind of play the swings. You buy when everyone's bored. You find these gems, right? There's always a gem my trick with crypto finding gems was looking for something that has not had a hype cycle yet, that has some sort of a little bit of merit to it. I realized that everything is garbage, right? And everything's probably going to fail. But if you find something that doesn't have a ceiling yet, these things rip so hard. But if I was investing in something like ADA, right, it's already been around for a few, so you wouldn't get these crazy rips. So you would find something that's like, okay, this maybe could do something one day, and people would hype over it, and it would go on these crazy 1000x tears. And then that's I would flip like $100 into like thousands of dollars, right? Over the course of years, right? This was not meme coin trading nonsense. It was you do that and then you wait for the ride up and then you get out at the top, right? So I did that a couple times before, again, blowing all my money and whatnot. But
no, okay. So were you trading obviously around back? What year was this? What year were we actually talking? Like when you first placed your first leveraged position?
2017, during the BitMEX era, where you could 100x your trades.
There was no real prop firms around at this stage. So you're trading your own cash, futures or CFDs?
I was trading crypto until 2019.
Okay, so on the crypto exchanges, yeah,
and then I switched to CFDs, and I tried doing the Forex trading sort of stuff, and I was trading euro for a while, and I was doing a lot of education course sort of stuff on YouTube because that's what people wanted, right? And
Sure.
and the reality is, in 2020, I was already in the scene, already in the trading scene. I was already trading forex in CFDs in 2019. So I was there a year before everyone else. So when everyone
Sure.
else came in from the COVID crash, right? And I was already making videos. I happened to start making videos just because my buddy wanted some stuff, and I wasn't actually planning to be making videos. People had found me and they're like, "Hey, can you teach me?" And like I started doing the course selling nonsense, right?
Sure.
I eventually stopped doing that, of course, because I don't think it's the best sort of way to make money. Because I don't think courses do anything for anyone.
Yeah, it's more the live. That's where kind of like the live streaming has come more popular, right? It
Live
makes sense.
streaming is the popular way. The live streaming makes a lot more sense. You can actually
Yeah,
talk to
well, you're
people.
learning from live
Yeah,
markets and stuff, and that's obviously what you and I do right now. I agree with you. Like the courses, I mean, I've up until a couple of years ago, I was also buying like different courses, on certain things. But it's good to see the trader actually executed live. I think it just helps and reiterates it more, in at least for me. Speak to me
yeah.
then a little bit about. So when did the thought process? So you were making money trading, you were trading crypto, and you got into the CFDs and swing trading, that type of stuff. Were you ever like swing trade? Were you ever day trading indexes or stocks at this point yet? Before?
Not at, like, for some reason it didn't even occur to me that like I thought stocks were like this boomer thing, right? Where I
Sure,
was like, why would I trade stocks when like
sure.
crypto makes way more money? Why would I day trade? Like it was like this weird, like I was like, forex, that's what's cool. Like I don't know, I didn't know why.
Probably because like the pattern day trading rule and everything like that. It was like, yeah, probably.
I didn't even look into it at all. I was just like, oh, that's like an old man thing, right?
Sure.
And later I realized, like now as I become an old man, it's like, oh, that's the easiest one, of course. It's just
Yeah,
like
I mean, trading stocks
NASDAQ,
and especially
yeah,
stuff that is moving. I agree.
trends, right? Like forex is near impossible to make money day trading.
Yeah, I mean,
You know?
especially back in the day when GU is moving like 20 points on an average
Yeah, it was
day.
nothing.
Jeez.
Yeah,
Yeah. Look at the
yeah.
Nasdaq. So we obviously back at all-time highs now. We'll get into that in a bit. But when did the thought process of you creating a prop firm then start?
Yeah, funny that ironically, like everything seemed to just fall into place, It's like meeting John, got into crypto from that. And then now that John actually works for us and with us, right? And Seb, he was actually the original idea.
Yeah. Okay.
And he
Interesting.
approached me because he was actually working with me. I'd launched a signal group, okay, and my idea was at heart an idea that I thought was going to be a good idea, and ultimately it didn't work out so well, right? I launched a signal group and I said, hey, what's wrong with signal groups is that some weeks you make money, some weeks you lose money. So I was like, why don't we diversify? We hire on 5 traders that have
Yeah.
a proven track record. How am I going to vet them? Well, all I did is check for a month of the results, right? So I was a young kid, an idiot, and I was like, a month of results, they're probably profitable, right? So they'd show me a month of results. I'd test them for like a week or two. They would do well, and then I would hire them on, and they would get a chunk of whatever percentage of all the profit, right?
Sure.
And then I was like, okay, if there's 5 of them, then you copy all of them, then on average you'll win, right? Ultimately, signal groups don't work. It's near impossible to copy everyone perfectly. Seb was actually one of these traders that ended up doing okay, right? So he was actually working with us, right? He's a professional. He was an ex-professional athlete, switched to a long-term swing trader, and then he was making little bits of money, right? So he approached me. He's like, hey, I got an idea, right? Let's do this prop firm thing. I need money, right? So he wanted me to invest in his thing, and I'd be a part shareholder. And I was like, no, we're gonna do it differently. I'm gonna launch this with you, and we're gonna be partners. And he actually had other partners that he was gonna work with, and I was like, no, you drop them, and we're gonna do our own thing together, right? And that's how that started, right?
Interesting. Okay, so he was actually one of the. That's actually super interesting now that you.
So it was his idea, but it was my money, and then we're like, okay, well, you're better with people, and I'm better with I was the CEO at the time, just like the idea, the formation of everything, right? How things work, but yeah.
Okay, and what year was that? That you actually, so what, because Maven's been going for like 3 or 4 years now, right?
It's 21, 22. Okay, nice. I think it's been February of 22, I think.
Okay, cool. I want to speak then a little bit about, maybe we can touch into like the style of trading that you do now. So you've obviously seen it all. does feel like you are like a guest on a podcast, but it's quite cool. I don't think many guys here actually you speak about this stuff because you're mainly talking shit and trading. But tell me now a little bit about then the style of trading you do now, DMC. Where did that come from?
Dumb Money Concepts is my bastard child of what Trader Sumo. Trader Sumo is a trader that doesn't have much popularity, but he's very good.
I follow him on X. He seems pretty cool.
He's incredibly good, and I've actually seen him trade, and he's like nearly right always. So I was like, let me try to reverse engineer this, basically, right? And he sat down with me one time because he liked what I was doing, and he thought I might not be a dickhead. And he's like, I'll show you a couple of things, right? And none of it really made any sense. And eventually, it kind of made sense to me after like a year of like just pondering on it, right? And it's still not what he does. I'm getting closer and closer over time. But Dumb Money Concepts was the simplification that, hey, we don't have to shoot for these crazy R's. We don't have to we don't have to play these patterns. And basically all he taught me that I was able to take away is only shoot for the next level, right? It'll go to the next. So if we gain something, it'll go to the next level before we go backwards, right?
Sure.
And the closes are how we determine what gains are, right? Or if there's a failure to gain, which is an attempt to make a gain, but we don't actually close beyond it, which will go in the reverse direction. So I now have two pieces of logic. It can either continue or it can fail to continue. And what do I know for sure is it's only going to go to the next level. So that's the core that I started with is, okay, now we have to make a strategy out of that, right? So using just those,
basically.
Yeah, using just those two simple logics that I know, okay, this for sure has to be how it works, right? There's no other way to look at it. If it gains, it has to go to the next level. There's nothing between the next level, right? So now we have to just determine what is the next level, right? So that was the next 2 years after that is trying to figure out, okay, what are levels, right? Okay, a level is candle body. Okay, there's pass-through levels. Okay, there's all sorts of these different levels. What are the important ones? How do I identify them, right? And with that became this whole universe of Dumb Money Concepts, and it's become very complicated. But in the basis, it's the most simplest thing. But you're not going to be able to be profitable in the most simplest form. You have to deepen it.
Yeah, you have to adapt and move with the times. So the way that you trade now, obviously you still trade a little bit of like prop firms. You also trade your own cash. You've been going more into the swing trading more recently. Why that move more recently into the swing trading?
Okay, right on. Last year I was doing a lot more swing trading. I was focused a lot on Maven, and I was also focused a lot on sleep. And
that's funny, dude.
You know, being on the West Coast,
sleep is very important. Yeah. Correct.
Being on the West Coast, well, I'll be honest, like, you know, the person that you're dating too is really, really critical for your work performance. Okay. And you know, based off of who you're dating, like the situation I was in, I would be up late a lot of times, like, you know, not doing anything crazy, but like just hanging out with the person I was seeing, right?
Yes.
And because of different sleep patterns, naturally I would be going to sleep at like midnight or whatever, and then I couldn't wake up at 5, 6 a.m. in order to trade the market open. So I adapted to swing trading, right? Swing trading is super crazy easy. I can focus on other things, doesn't take much time at all, and it started working much better for me rather than trying to wake up groggy and whatnot. Now this year, you know, I've got, you know, my wife now, my quote unquote wife, right? And we have a much different sleep schedule. So I'm up at 5 a.m. just naturally now, right? So now I'm trading the market open again and having a fucking blast with it, right? Because it's actually so, like, for what I'm doing now, it's so much more accurate and quick, and we can just take cash every day. But it really depends on your style. Then is like, I've had two different personas in my life, where one is this laid back version and one is this like high energy version. It really depends what works better for you at the moment.
Yeah, because I've also, it's funny that you mentioned that, because I've actually also been swing trading quite a bit, especially I've spoken, I think, about on stream here about me having my son and having to adapt. It's like you having to adapt. When you were trading crypto a couple of years, or 8, 9, 10 years ago, you didn't have a business. You were just trading, and you didn't really have any other responsibilities. So I think that's pretty interesting. Okay, cool. So,
well, yeah, ironically, back then I just basically didn't do anything really. I would just invest into cryptos and then live cheap. I had super cheap rent back then, and just all of my money I just kept throwing in crypto, right? So, back then, like, inflation wasn't super high. Like, this was like 2017, 2018, dude. Life was cheap.
Yeah,
right? It was not hard to live.
Yeah, no,
I remember you could live easily off of like $2,000 a month. Now it's like $2,000 a month is like not even. I can't even pay rent. The average person can't even pay rent here for $2,000.
$2,000 a month. I mean, maybe if you move to South Africa, you could do fine. But no, I understand. Like America, it's expensive, bro. Imagine like we were just in Miami. $2,000 a month, you're sleeping on the beach.
you get a pull-out couch, right?
Yeah, pull-out couch. Yeah. Okay, cool. So, obviously now you focus on growing Maven. So trading's kind of taken a little bit of a back end, at least for right now, which I think not many people want to hear this, but I want to get your take on, firstly, this thing is, I think a lot of people want to trade full time, but you always say like that's probably the dumbest thing that you can do. And I mean, most of us actually, the content creators, call us whatever you want, have other sources of making money on top of trading too. So maybe what's your take on that, since you've been in the space for so long?
Yeah, it is one of my controversial topics, is that you shouldn't trade full time. And I want to preface this and say, hey, it's all possible. Like, I've realized what's possible. I'm doing the day trading day in, day out every day now.
Yes.
And I'm making good money from this with not a whole lot of money. That being said, this has been my entire life for 14 years. I have done nothing but this, and I am incredibly good compared to the average person at this point. So I don't want to give people the false reality, as much as, the business side of me wants to say, hey, go live the dream, spend the money and buy Maven accounts, right? And the better part of me says, hey, I need to be a realist here. And it's not a good idea if you're in your first 10 years. After 10 years, I think you're going to be in a situation where you've built up enough capital, the markets well enough, and you know how to manage your risk well enough. So it's a 10-year journey until you can do it. But when I say, hey, don't trade full time, you can't do this for a living, it's like the first period, right? You have to dedicate your entire life to this in order to make it work. Otherwise, it's better to be a hobby, right? Because a hobby, that way you can come in, swing trade, you can go casually, you can take weeks off. It doesn't matter. You go work somewhere else to pay for your rent. You're not stressed about making your bills this time, right?
Correct.
And that's the only way that I think is possible until you get to that 10-year mark.
I really agree with that. I've been doing this 9 years now. This is my 9th year, and every year is different. Like this year, I've got off to a hot start. I had in the first literally 4 months, I had over 55K in prop firm payouts to start the year, and then I went through a month when I was in America where I didn't take any payouts. I spoke about it last week on stream, and then if that's your only source of income, I did it for 2 years. Hunter, I was trading. Some family money, had over 100K in the trading account, but some months when you don't make any money, you're having to pull money out of that account that you're needing to live on, and it can be mentally taxing. Luckily at that time I didn't have really any responsibilities besides myself, so it wasn't a massive amount that I had to pull out. But I agree with what you're saying. Is also, trading can be quite boring. What are your thoughts on that topic? Like, if you're just trading all day every single day and you don't have anything else to do,
I mean, totally. There's actually an interesting, maybe I'm going to pull this up on my I'm going to screen share in a sec here and pull this up on my account here, because it's actually interesting. This actually might help answer that question. Okay, I'll pull out that image there. Okay, let me put that, and then I'll screen share. Okay, so here. Okay, so this is just a simple image that shows the time zones or the time of day and the day of the week, right? And then
Right.
it literally just shows me how profitable one of my methods is, right? And it's the
Oh,
simple.
nice. Is it all done with AI? Yeah.
Yeah, this is done with AI. So what it did is it's looking at the DMC Pro. It's only looking at like gains or breakouts, sort of break and retest sort of style, right? And this is basically what I found for most of everything I've run so far is nothing works for day trading. This is only looking at like the 15-minute.
Sure.
Nothing works for day trading except for the market open, right? And you know that you get it's funny enough, it drifts a little bit later in the day for Friday, right? People go a little slower throughout the week, it seems like. But there's no point in trading any time of the week other than the market open.
Are you talking about NQ though? Yeah.
NQ, yeah. This is for what I trade, right? So sure, you could potentially maybe jump around different tickers and whatnot. But this is literal proof to tell me I should not do anything for the rest of the day. I should only work for 2 hours a day. And this is all I can do in order to make the most money possible. So this is proof that trading should be boring, except for 2 hours. I should work for 2 hours and that's it. That literal direct proof from the method I use. So to argue with the data, and this is over the course of 10 years of data, right? I'll move that off now. I can't possibly argue with that. So should trading be boring? Well, yes, for 22 hours of the day. So what are you going to do with the other 22 hours, right? And I remember somebody asking me, or not asking me, but more flaming me, right? And this is a really common thing. They say, hey, if you were so good at trading, you wouldn't be making content about it, right? And it's just an absolute idiotic, insane thing to say. Like, I have 2 hours per day that I work as a trader.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I agree with you. I mean, if someone asks me to come on a stream, I'm going to get paid more money to do what I actually like, talking markets and that. Once I'm already done trading, I'm going to make more money and I'm going to talk about what I like. Why not? Exactly. It's like, I also never understood that logic too. Like, I'm done trading now. I'm not looking to day trade at this point at time of day. I'm really done. I'm, closing up, maybe managing some swing positions, whatever it is, but I'm not actively looking to take trades. So I do agree with you on that sense. And obviously you can tell very quickly, especially right now where the live streamers is, you can tell if someone can trade or not by just watching one or two of their live streams, really.
Yep. Yeah, totally. It really, if you want to see if somebody's good, it's I think you can kind of just observe their behavior, right? To see if they're erratic or not, right?
Correct. Yeah. Yeah.
But what's interesting is, like being on the West Coast here, 9 a.m., the market is unprofitable for me. And I know this. I know this for certain. I'll sometimes take a rare trade, right? But it's either an overnight swing, or I'm done at 9 a.m. So I have a whole work day still.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, literally, like, dude, it's still brand new in the morning. People are still checking into work. So what in your experience in your years of trading, what would you say is, give me one or two characteristics that you think also you just mentioned now, what makes a profitable trader?
What makes a profitable trader? Right. Yeah. One of the things I talk about so much is on the streams and whatnot is consciousness, right? That's the biggest one in terms of controlling your sort of discipline, right? Everyone talks about discipline, or I need to lock in my mindset. I need to work on my psychology. And I've broken that down to, what does that mean? Because everyone says that. What is the actionable steps in order to work on your psychology or discipline or mindset, right? And what I've figured out is awareness, right? Or consciousness of what's happening inside you at the moment, right? So the first sort of thing that you need to identify is, what are the emotions you're feeling when you're making these FOMO mistakes or these over trading mistakes or whatever. And then after you've been able to identify these things, then you have to identify them in real time, right? So while the markets are actually going, you're like, oh, I'm feeling anxious because I'm in drawdown, right? And that in itself is consciousness, right? So being aware of what you're feeling and why you want to act a certain way, right? And then putting it to words and telling yourself in the moment, hey, I want to take a trade right now, and it's because I'm anxious and because I'm losing. Is it a good idea, right? And to literally say that to yourself is the most important thing that I found in terms of managing your mental state, right? Once you're able to do that, and then after that, of course, not to make the bad decision, right?
Sure.
In terms of,
I agree with that, because you got to correct it in real time. You can't just talk about it afterwards all the time. You actually got to correct it.
Well,
okay,
it's one of those issues that you see as a problem constantly from everyone. Everyone says, "I'll lock in. I'll do it better next time. Discipline's I'm just having trouble managing my It's literally fucking everywhere. This is like the number one thing that people complain about, but nobody has a solution. They just say, I need to improve my, there's not a single influencer talks about this shit. Right.
Yeah.
And, I guess I've been able to figure it out. Right. And it's consciousness, being aware. Right.
I agree. So in terms of, you've been obviously through quite a few cycles and that, what do you think of the market right now, where we're at the moment?
I think we're going to go to,
well, we've hit all-time highs on ES and YM today, not NQ. NQ's lagging a bit.
We're at all-time highs for So for the NQ, I think the top.
Yeah, NQ is still about 4% of all-time highs, but we're up 8.5% in the last couple of trading days. That's
if I had to guess, and I am ultra bearish compared to the average person.
Oh wow.
I don't think it's going to go significantly above the all-time high, if it even touches the all-time high. We lost what I'm looking at is we lost the level that brought us to the all-time high, right?
Sure.
What's happening right now is it's pumping up so that everyone can exit their positions, right? I believe that this is
the longs that they're in, basically.
Yeah. I believe that this is the bull trap, right? Where everyone exits their positions and then it will dump down to 25K. Right.
Interesting.
That is super contrarian compared to the market is incredibly bullish. That being said, I am not going to short unless it's safe. Right.
Yes. Yeah. Because obviously it's been on a tear. Yeah.
Yeah. I was long today. Right. So every day I'm going to wake up and I'm going to say, hey, is it still
what's in front of you
long? Yeah. Right. But what I'm looking at is that 3,400 area that I want to be looking for shorts. Right. And then hopefully absolutely destroy the market. Right.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
For ES, I don't look at ES at all. ES.
Yeah. ES and YM actually did hit all-time high. So I was just having a look at that at that in the background. Yeah. An interesting stock that Palantir is up. It was up 30%. Yeah, it's up 28% today on earnings.
I think everything is absolutely overinflated, and there's no reason for people to be in the stock market right now. Sure. I think it's insane.
What about crypto? What about Bitcoin here at 64K?
Perfectly fine to be buying here, right? I am slowly going to start buying. There's no rush though. There's no rush to be buying yet because it's still not doing anything.
It's been sitting around about the 64K. I don't know about you, but I'm kind of seeing. I know we don't really trade this way, but like you could see an inverted head and shoulders on the daily time frame.
Sure, it means nothing to me, but yeah.
Agreed. Yeah, no, I'm just trying to entertain
entertain the idea.
Yeah.
Entertain the. Anyways, what I'm looking at is metals, right?
Okay. Yeah, I actually, you know what? I've just gotten in a swing long, literally about 2 hours ago. Is gold long?
Yeah. I've been sitting in gold for
What's
the
your
last
entry
few
price
weeks.
on gold? I'm in at 41.40.
41.04.
Okay, nice. Yeah, 41.
Just switch to zero.
Look how it's respecting that 4,000 level for the last since June, right?
I think if gold loses this level, then there's a problem.
Sure.
So that's what I'm betting on. Is I really don't want to see gold back at 35, right? Sure. And considering that, I think the stock market is a complete bubble right now, is absolutely going to explode. Gold is going to be the safer asset. So I would rather be buying gold now and be wrong, and then buy again later, right? And then because gold will do very well, it's been on a massive retracement right now, and I'm just playing the game of, I think everything's going to flip into a recession,
and then go into gold, which is generally a safe haven during uncertain times, right?
Yeah, I've been betting on the recession since last year, since last September. I've been expecting after the IPOs of SpaceX and Anthropic and OpenAI, I think that the top is in at some point this year.
Interesting. Okay. Well, yeah, I'm watching the only stock I'm really looking to buy right now is Nvidia. I think could pump back to all-time highs. Personally, it did have its close now back above the daily 50. I'm watching that. We are off all-time highs at 236. We're trading at 211. I'm watching that's about 10-11% move to the highs. But that's really the only stock that I'm watching at the moment in terms of the Mag 7, in terms of purchasing. Tesla's an interesting one back down at the lows. But yeah, any other, let's see if there's any questions in the chat to ask Hunter.
You weren't kidding about Palantir. Did you see what it's at now?
Yeah, it's crazy, dude.
Nearly 30% up today.
Yeah, 30% up. I know. Yeah.
I thought it was like 10% this morning.
No,
this is what's causing the market to go up so heavily. Hey, Palantir, holy!
It's just
30% in a what is this? Is if this is a top signal, like what else could you ask for? There's no such thing as a massive company pumping 30% in a day.
Dude, 30% in a day is wild. Yeah. And it's not a small company either. It's not like it's a GameStop or something like that.
30% is crazy. Yeah, chat saying it's crazy too. The Kospi right now is like the Korean index was down 50% last month.
Yes, I saw that.
Right? Like this is the most volatile times in all of history for index trading, right?
Sure. Yeah, I mean it's crazy, and did you also see that they're coming out potentially with nanos on the futures contracts?
Yeah. So my opinion on the nanos is it's another way to milk more money out of the retail investor. I think they're absolutely. I'm not a fan of talking about manipulation. I think when people say, hey, manipulating the stops, I think that's all nonsense. I think there's no reason to think that they're going to be targeting your stops. I don't think it makes sense. But a lot of people like to think about manipulation so that they can feel, good about it or something, right? And there is most certainly at high degrees, people exiting positions, right? So you have to manipulate the news, okay?
Yeah.
In order to exit your larger positions, right? And I think that's what's happening right now, and they're opening up nanos so that they can get more liquidity in, so they can exit more of their positions, right? So they're currently, everything is going exactly with what I'm saying. I think that they're going to come up near the all-time high again. Everyone's going to exit, okay?
And then it's going to dump back down to 25K on.
Yeah, nanos come out on the 24th, I believe, which is going to coincide roughly with where we're looking at the top, right? SpaceX, all this stuff's being offloaded, right? I think OpenAI and Anthropic are supposed to go public soon. I can't remember. I think in September. So the top is very, very close in my mind, if not already in.
I like those. The one thing I have conviction on, I agree with you, is those gold longs. I really like them at this level, just because you've been holding, even for the last month, that 4,000 level hasn't broken,
Yeah, I wouldn't have a super tight stop with it, just because it might.
No. My stop when it's actually underneath, it's at 3,950. That's where my stop is on it.
950. Yeah, I think I have one somewhere around there. So
yeah, my stop's at 950 underneath those lows. So it would have to go break when you low for me to get smoked on it. So
yeah, somewhere around there too.
Yeah. Is any other? Let's see. There's some questions for Hunter in the chat. How's it been being a guest so far? You haven't. I
love rambling, dude. So it's great.
Yeah. No, for sure.
Yeah.
Let's see if there's any good questions here in the chat. Anything on? We're going to speak about AI next week, so make sure you do tune in. We do this every single week.
Is DMC good because it has a high win rate or as simple steps? I think he's just getting me to say it's both. It's both. It's simple steps and is a high win rate.
There you go, and a high win rate. Yeah, because you were looking at something like with a 90% win rate, right?
Yeah, that was me kind of just like trend sort of scalping sort of thing. I built a bot for that. I'm not running that. I'm not running any bot currently. Next week, guys, we're going to talk about AI. James is going to bring back, I know we mentioned he was going to do this last week. He's going to bring in some AI that he's looking at his trade data in order to.
I showed you guys last week about how many markups I got, and that just shows how long Hunter and I have actually been doing it, you know. So it's always good. I always we were chatting before we went live here as well. We got to do another meetup in Miami. I've been posting all those videos and that. I actually had someone that was a guest on the show DM me on Instagram because you shared it. He's like, hey, we are a guest on the show, whatever. So it's quite cool actually. You know, I know with all the modern day technology, it's actually quite cool to meet in person as well from time to time.
It's pretty sweet, dude. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. So, yeah, I mean, let's see if there's one or two last good questions. Maybe anything trading related or prop firm related with regards to Maven. How the guys been enjoying those new OMO accounts?
Yeah, almost pretty popular. It's really good. I love the OMO just because you know, it doesn't have the news rules. A lot of people were complaining about news sort of restrictions and whatnot. So you can trade the news freely, and I think that just gives more freedom to traders.
Sure. Right? Yeah. Okay. Let's have a. Yeah.
How do you balance there's a
yes, that's the one I was looking at. How do you balance the executive side? Hey, he's calling you executive now.
Yeah.
Hunter, you fancy?
I am an executive, I suppose.
Yeah.
Technically. Yeah. Right.
So how do you balance that?
Mama, I'm an executive. Yeah, how do I balance it? Block your day. Block your day into different things. This is very important to me. Is I have a different time slot throughout the day. Lately, I've done nothing but coding on Claude and trading and whatnot. And my days have been more extreme lately in that aspect. But the mornings are for trading. Come 7:30, I finish trading and I go do some meetings or whatever, important meetings, because, you know, different time zones, we have to catch people before they're gone for the day.
Yeah.
And then busy work until noon. Afternoon is more content creation sort of stuff. So you basically, the way that I've structured it is the high intensity, most important stuff that require the most brain power at the start of the day, and then the more creative stuff at the end of the day. And then when I finish off the day, it's either usually like socializing or, you know, meditation sort of stuff at the end of the day.
Yeah.
When I go to sleep.
No, I love it, bro. It's I think, yeah, I mean, I always have a calendar. I think you have to have the calendar set up in place for you to actually know what you're doing each and every single day. You know, I've been doing that. You know, I don't know what your take on this is too, but like I was very busy as a child. Like I did all the sports and that. I had to manage my own calendar since those days.
Oh yeah.
So that actually reads into, you know, me being busy now every single day too, because I'm used to it. I used to know where I had to pack for the night before. What sports am I doing the next day? What extra, you know, curriculum activities and so forth.
Yeah.
So I think if you are wired that way, which I know you are too, you're on the show and doing everything. But
sounds like you kind of raised yourself.
Say again.
It sounds like you kind of raised yourself. You're packing your own lunches and whatnot, right?
No, I had good supportive parents. I was fortunate enough, but I did have to know what was on the board. They were quite tough on me in that way. Like they're not going to worry. They got lives too. They're not going to worry about what I need to do. You know,
they're not going to worry about their son. Hey,
no, not at all.
my mom's out partying.
Yeah, she's in. Yeah,
James will take care of himself.
Yeah.
It's like
but, okay, that was actually a good question. But let's see let's see one more here, and then we can do the wrap it up and do the giveaway.
Yeah. You're picking somebody for the giveaway? I haven't been reading questions. Yeah,
let's. I'll actually give it to that guy that asked that question. Previous question. That's actually
good question.
The executive question.
Yeah,
we'll give it to him.
Okay.
Yeah, cat's off. All right.
Yeah, you got one more question?
Yeah, let's see. We've already asked character trait. There's a lot of AI questions coming in. AI is next week. I think actually let's leave it like that, Hunter.
go.
I think we had a good chat here today.
Right on.
We'll
Okay,
give it
cool.
to that guy that asked the executive question, and we'll see.
Cat Soft, open up a ticket with Maven. You won the 50K Maven account today. We do this every single Tuesday. Next week, we are going to be going over AI. I am going to show you what I've been building a bot, how I've been building a bot, and James is going to show you how he has improved his trades from a trade journal using AI in order to backtrack everything. Okay.
Correct.
Tune in next week, guys. Thanks for watching.